But in Qigong, we can teach you how to perceive when you're aligned and your tissues are open. So you're actually soft in your joints. You're not contracting muscles. Your body has this beautiful alignment system that you can use to put yourself in a state where you'll actually feel the energy of the earth radiating up through your feet and up into your body.
Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins, Epigenetic Human Performance Coach. This is where we discuss all things lifestyle, environment, food, exercise, work, mind, and social interaction as they pertain to epigenetic expression in a way that's relatable to everyone. So if you're ready to start viewing you as an individual, take control of your life and health, and get results, buckle up, here we go. Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I am your host, Susan Robbins, and this is a place where we discuss everything lifestyle and environment and how it pertains to our epigenetic expression. So today I have a fantastic guest on. He is over in the UK, so you're going to hear a nice accent in here. He's going to make everything sound wonderful compared to my Jersey accent here. But his name is Ben Calder. And Ben has been in professional practice as a kinesiologist since 2003. He uses a multidisciplinary approach with an integral perspective to assess health, well-being, and develop bespoke solutions to optimize your life. And I had to ask him, what is bespoke? And apparently it's an English word. That's unique to the individual, is what it means. So he's all about solutions unique to the individual, as that's epigenetics, right? To optimize your life. He has a model of life force Qigong to help develop unique strategies for your life. And this is going to be the crux of what we are going to talk about today: Qigong and epigenetics. I had no idea there was a connection there. So I'm super excited to chat with Ben about this because this is going to be new to me. In 2013, he opened the Center for Integral Health in Shrewsbury, UK, to further explore the integral model in a clinical setting that uses multidisciplinary approach to health. Because as we know, it's not just about one thing. He has a real passion for addressing the cause of ill health and changing the behaviors. Remember, people, key in behaviors that contribute to dysfunctional patterns and the life changes, and believes that there is always a way to make a difference. Amen, my friend. That totally spoke to me, and it's why we're here doing what we do, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. Such a joy to be here with you and to be sharing in my most English of fashions how we can do some of that epigenetic stuff through using Qigong, through using mindful movement.
I love this. Again, this is new to me. I've heard Qigong over the years. I've never tried it. I have a friend who's an acupuncturist who just swore by it. That's how he started his day. And even in my epigenetics, I've recommended it to people, but do I really know what it is or anything or how it relates to epigenetics? Not a clue, which is why you are here. And I'm so grateful that you came on to discuss this. So let's just jump in. Buckle up, people. Here we go. And let's start off with, how did you get into this?
I mean, that's a great story. And I'm going to credit my mother as the first place for that, for a number of reasons. As in many ways, we should always credit our mothers for so many of the reasons why we're here. But in a very normal kind of way, I was actually born via birth trauma. So my mother had an abnormal birthing process with me. And then through some kind of early life experiences, you could say, for want of a better word, that especially back in the kind of the 70s and 80s when I was a child, I was a dysregulated child. So, and in those days, we didn't look at things like neurodivergence, things like ADHD weren't talking points. We didn't look at it that way. I often joke that if I was a teenager in school these days, they'd have me medicated up to the eyeballs, because I was just that kind of kid. And It makes life very difficult because it's difficult to concentrate, it's difficult to focus, it's difficult to really have a healthy sense of how your body is because you don't feel safe. So you're constantly hyper vigilant for the environment, trying to work out what you need to do to stay safe in there. And I was really lucky, and again, thanks to my mum, that when I was in my mid-teens, as 15 years old, I met my first Qigong teacher who I think is part of some weird time travel deja vu loop because he was a guy in his 70s called Ben who taught Qigong, and he recognized me. We were at this event, my mom and I, and he recognized that I was a little kind of shaky. And he was this really graceful, soft guy that was just doing these Qigong practices, and especially something called Zhang, which is standing like a tree. And there was just this magnetism, this pull to go and talk to this guy. And he taught me how to stand. He literally aligned my body and showed me all of the ways that I had created stress adaptation. Because
Wow.
with my work, we don't talk about people being damaged, broken, needing fixing. We look at it from a point of view of they had a stress adaptation. And that means for all of us, survival rate is 100%. If you're here breathing and you wake up every morning, survival rate is still 100%. When I go to bed every night, I go, yes. So he taught me how to stand, aligned me. And of course, what that does changes the nervous system. That then automatically starts to change the interaction between the nervous system and the hormonal system. That then starts to change cell signaling. That then starts to change a difference in the outcome for how you are. Started working with my breathing, started practicing Qigong, and it wasn't an instant fix for me because of how kind of dysregulated I was. I would do it for a bit and find it really challenging, but I could feel there was something in there of value, so I kept on coming back to it. And I went down different avenues of it at times as well. So I went into kind of the martial arts side of it because Qigong is a very, very broad discipline in a lot of ways. 3,500 forms around the planet at this point, at
Wow.
least. And we have within those the martial arts end of that. We have in China, they have whole branches of just medical Qigong, health, vitality, and spiritual practices. And the life force Qigong that I do is mainly around vitality, health, and spirit.
Okay.
Where we're able to regulate the body. And after all, epigenetics, from my perspective, is a response to the environment in some way. And
Absolutely.
we've got the two really obvious places of that, one of which is our perception of the environment on an emotional level. I love Candice Pert's work on her molecules of emotion. This is the researcher who first discovered we had cell receptor sites. And so we know that our interpretation from a psychological perspective is going to create a change in the response in the body. And then we have that environmental side. What am I doing? What am I not doing? Nutrition, behavior in that kind of way. Those two aspects. And as we start to use Qigong as a tool for practice, it starts to make us more sensitive. So it starts to change how we perceive the environment and how we interact with it. I started as a teenager. It took I reckon it took a good decade before I really started to surrender into the practice and allow it to really nurture me. But it wasn't like an overnight thing, and it wasn't like an all of a sudden. It was this gradual, pervasive change. And so now I've been practicing 34 years,
Wow.
and it's just part of what helps me stay healthy and well. And my brother, who is the founder of the system I teach, he very much talks about it being our health insurance because
I
by
love
putting
that.
that little bit in on a regular basis, the dividend we get back from it is so much greater than what we invest. And over time, we're not just looking for life, we're looking for health and vitality. So when I'm in my 70s and 80s, I want to be like that old guy Ben who I met, and I'm sure that I'm going to have some scattered 15-year-old kid called Ben come up to me when I'm in my 70s and go, I need some help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. It's about quality of life.
Yeah.
But I talk about that every single podcast. It's about quality of life. That's why I got into what I do too, because you see plenty of people in their 70s, 60, 70 on oxygen with walkers. They can't get out and participate and do the things they want to do. They're just basically existing through life.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was due to choices that they had made. And the beauty of it, and I'm sure whether you have a 10-year-old Ben or a 50-year-old Ben come up to you, it's never too late to start incorporating changes. And that's the beauty of epigenetics. It's never too early and it's never too late.
Yeah, for sure. My oldest student currently is 82 years old. She only
that's awesome.
started working with me. It's nearly about 2 years ago now, 18 months, 2 years. And she is better now than she was when she began. And I had a colleague many years ago who came up with a beautiful statement that said there are no real diseases of old age. There are only diseases of extended bad habit.
That is, you need to send that quote to me. I'm gonna have to keep using that. That is a beautiful quote and it is spot on. I used to do interpretations for an epigenetic age testing company, True Diagnostics, right? And we know that aging is the number one risk factor. And we want to, the whole point is to slow the aging process. Again, it comes down to, there's the perception that you talked about. And people saying, oh, I'm 50 now. It's all downhill from here. Or I'll be six. My God, I must gave myself an extra year. I'll be 59 and so that's scary. In 2 weeks from today, 59, my God, the last year, this is scary. I don't feel almost 60. I don't look it. And that's how I perceive it is it's just a number saying this is how long I've been on this earth in this body.
Yep.
But I don't live my life like I'm old or getting old. And what is Absolutely. It? They say the 50s are the new 30s, right?
Sure. It makes all the difference. Literally, I turned 49 yesterday. I'm really with that.
And you were 49 yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. Thank you very much. And one of the things that I say to a lot of my students is we become the thing we practice the most. So again, if you're going to be healthy, what are you doing that actually practices health? What's the shape of the vitality that you are becoming? But if you're using this belief system now that, and again, I think it really hits people with this concept of retirement or an age of retirement. That's like this bad social idea that your usefulness has ended and that you can't contribute anymore. Whereas if we go back, not all that far into the past, there wasn't even a concept of that. All that happened was you changed your role within the society that you existed in, and you did things that suited you in comparison to other people doing things that suited them because of age or health or any other factor.
Yeah, 100%. I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago with a guy that runs a cancer foundation, and he blew my mind. He said, how do you say it? People get their diagnosis. You've got 6 months to live. They literally get that in their head. And because do doctors have a this magic predictor that says in 6 months you will actually be gone?
Definitely.
No, but it's the mindset. It's the perception of, I only have this long. And then you see other people saying, I've got this long and holy hell, I'm going to make this the best ever. And guess what? A year later, they're thrown. The mind doesn't know the difference. The body doesn't know the difference. It's all what we make of it that's the reality that we're creating. So
you've only got to look at the research that's been done where they've taken older people and they've put them into artificial environments that are exactly constructed to how they were when they were 20 or 30 years younger. And they epigenetically, the cells start to change. And a lot of those kind of age perceptions start to shift. So I didn't even use this concept of age anymore. I don't look at I'm X years old. I talk about it as levels. So actually, now I'm at level 49. That upgrade on where I was like 10 levels ago. So I'm up, and it's kind of like, I'm getting towards the big boss at the end of the game kind of thing. In each level, we're getting further and further along. We're boosting that vitality. And if we're choosing things appropriately, again, it's like when you're driving your vehicle, you shift according to the conditions. So whatever the weather is that's outside of you, you shift according to the conditions. Even if you need to stick your snow tires on, or you need
Mhm.
to upgrade the fuel you put in, or whatever else, you make the adjustment that helps you adapt to the environment. And that's one of the key lessons in Qigong. We're trying to find this kind of neutral, centered point that isn't that we're dull to the world around us. It's not that I've managed to desensitize myself or switch myself off. It's the opposite. I can sense and perceive when there's a change around me. Like going out, I wouldn't necessarily go out and do Qigong outside in the snow, because it's not, it's a cold environment, it's damp, it's going to be harder on my kidneys, it's going to be harder on parts of my system. So it's, what do I do to adapt? In the UK, we get, I'm sure you do in Colorado as well, you get these kind of changes in the seasons. And like having cold, damp food in cold, damp weather is just bad for your body. So
Bad for
it's
the body.
like adapting around what is going on, and having that relationship, being aware enough of what's taking place that you can make appropriate adjustment when you need to.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. What do I need to do to adapt? Exactly. And all the analogies you gave, just super spot on. When we talk about the fuel, in the AI based platform I use, where you get the profile, it changes seasonally. The foods
Yeah.
do, just like what you said, right? There's Ayurvedic principles in there. There's some Chinese medicine in there in the algorithm. And you literally, when you click on that food and look and see why it's recommended for you at this time, in the summer, we need more cooling foods. In the winter, we need the warming. Who's really, do you see the lines at the ice cream places in the winter? No, the bodies don't tolerate.
Yeah.
So we're always adapting, but are we, like you said, what do I need to do to adapt? Am I even making the changes?
Yeah.
Because
And
it's such a crucial part.
And how many people are just running on autopilot though? Because
Auto.
you could say the queues at the ice cream stand now. I've been working away at an event over the weekend, and the evenings were really cold. Like we've had this really weird cold spell in there. Like I had a hot water bottle like in the evenings just to make sure that I was the right temperature in bed. And there was an ice cream seller there, and people, I saw them kind of 8, 9 o'clock at night. They're still buying
Oh,
ice cream. And in my mind, I'm just like going, what are you doing? What are you doing to your body? How can you actually think you want that? You're playing out some shape in your mind, an idea that you've got, rather than being present with where you are in that moment, really noticing what the body was calling for. And there's me having a nice, warm, slightly spicy tea just to help the
yeah.
digestion, the internal fire. And there's people eating ice cream, and it's just
I can't even do soup in the summer.
yeah,
It's too
sure.
warm, right?
Yeah.
But now we're still hot. We're still in the 80s, so it's hot. When you said being in Colorado, things change. We changed like in 5 minutes. So we've had 3 weather systems in an hour-long period. So I get it.
Um,
But yeah, but to the serious, um, I look at it. So I'm looking at it a little bit differently. I see exactly where you're saying, as far as the temperature part with the ice cream, but I'm going knowing chronobiology and all the shit that's in ice cream. I'm looking at that.
sure.
We're in line at 9 o'clock. We were out for dinner last month, and there was a line. I had never been to this place. It was down in Denver. And there was a line that went around the block. And I said, oh, is there a concert hall here? So that's what I thought it was. It was an ice cream place. And this was about 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was 9 o'clock at night when we got out of that restaurant. And here's all these people lined up. And I said, okay, first of all, so it's funny, it was around the same time. First of all, you're eating at night, you're eating late at night, which, hello, insulin resistance. Can I knock on your door? Right?
Yeah.
The body's not meant to be eating late at night. So right there, you've got strike one, right? And then the sugar, just so you've got your chronobiology, your timing's off, you're loaded with sugar and all this other crap in there. And so we both, it's so funny to hear somebody else that actually thinks the way I do. When I walk by and I go, not judging, I'm just thinking in my head that they can't feel good and they can't feel optimal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we joke about it in Qigong. We have this idea because in the digestion, in the stomach and the spleen in Chinese medicine, spleen is really pancreas. And we talk about something called the spleen vampire, which is where you've got this mind shape. You're a bit pensive, you're a bit restless, you're unsettled. There's something that you are desiring, you want it. And people often end up going for something sugary, something sweet, because in the right place, right time, that can be quite grounding, quite settling. It's like a little bit of nurturance. But then you see people, they're all hyperactive, they're restless, and they have the sweet thing, and then they're like, boom, their whole energy
Sugar
drops.
crash.
Spleen vampires kicked in, and it's just drained all the energy because it can't digest the thing you've put in there. And like you say, it's just wrong timing, wrong thing for the body. And I think marketing has shown how successful it is at helping you dysregulate that natural sense of what's right for me to have. One of the biggest jokes I have with my clients when they talk to me about, having cereal for breakfast, I say to them, why? The expression on my face is exactly how I feel.
If you're audio only, I just cringed.
But yeah, it's like, why do we have cereal for breakfast? What's the basis for that? And it's easy. Kellogg's had a business plan. There's no other reason why we eat cereal for breakfast. And when you really look back, I spent some time a couple of years ago in southeastern Anatolia, which is the very southern part of Turkey, Syrian border. And it's where what they call the arc of civilization was. That after the Younger Dryas, after the kind of last ice age, it's where civilization began and where this idea of grains in modern farming came from. They were famine foods. They were things that we found a way that we could store them to get through the hungry gaps when we didn't have that really good nutrient density, because it'll keep you going for a couple of months until the real food turns up. But we've turned this into such a culture that it's all the time, throughout the day, all year round, for years and years, and then we wonder why people are chronically sick. I don't.
And like you said, it's the marketing plan. It's healthy. It's fiber. It's crap. Also, sorry, every cereal out there, but it's convenience. People want something they can pour out of a box, pour something on top of, and down it because they're in such a rush to get their day going.
A minute steak is convenient. Flash around a pan.
How quick is it to do a couple of eggs? Not the coddled, my English friend. Because we know a good coddled dippy egg. Yeah. But a scrambled egg, you can scramble an egg in a minute or two. It's that quick. And put a handful of spinach in there which wilts in 30 seconds to nothing. Cook things ahead of time. And it's just perfect timing for this. And he probably won't listen to this, but my friend Dave needs to listen to this podcast. He's going to laugh. We went to dinner the other night. There's 3 of us renting an Airbnb this weekend to go hike and do the leaf peeping because the colors are changing. And I said, hey, I'm off Friday, so I'll go do some grocery shopping. What do you need for breakfast? Right? He goes, what do I do? Okay, with cereal and I go, yeah, I will not buy cereal. You will not. We laughed about it. I said, my whole reputation and my whole inner self would be ruined if I purchased a box of cereal. So what else will you eat?
That would be the moment that somebody would photograph you in the store, box of cereal in hand, wondering which is the least dangerous to buy somebody, and be like, yeah, gotcha.
My whole reputation would be down the toilet. And then if I use it's for a friend, right? And be like, yeah, we know you eat this crap. So yeah, it was just a funny conversation. For you to bring that up, he needs to listen to it.
Dave, stop eating the cereal, man. It ain't doing you any good. All the way from across the sea. It's not doing any good.
I think my friends think I just preach and they're like, okay, Susan, shut up. But again, you see it the way I do. When I look at someone and what they're taking in, I think I lost a potential date the other day because a guy said something about a pulled pork sandwich at a fast food place. And I go, dude, I don't do any fast food. I don't do fast food. I won't do fast food. I don't do well with people who do fast food. It was like, bye. but that's the reality of it. It's lifestyle. And
Yeah,
I can't work with be around someone and watching them put these things in their body that it takes because it's awareness and consciousness and these things that affect the brain so negatively and then the body.
mhm.
Someone gets sick, something happens to somebody that's out of their control, that's one thing, but so much of this we have control over, and I don't want to be changing someone's diaper because they chose to eat crap and drink like fish. Alcohol take you out of your awareness
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
And that's another one that's hard, one of the hardest things for my clients to give up because it's
yeah,
around that, like you had said with the ice cream, it's in their head that this is what they need. It's that social
yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah, all those
So
cultural
there's
patterns for sure. But then how far
absolutely.
back do you go? You say that when things happen unexpectedly, health-wise, it's kind of like, how long have you been doing some of those patterns for that thing to unexpectedly just come out? How much time and energy have you been putting in for the last decade to focus towards a place where actually, and especially, I'm at the beginning of the period, you're just coming to the end of that. The 50s is that key decade in our health. And there's some good research that shows that if you get your lifestyle, your diet, your movement in your 50s, the likelihood of you getting into your 80s in a good state is so high that
Oh
in
yeah.
comparison, that if you don't, the likelihood of you not getting to your 70s is equally high.
Mm-hmm. 100%. 100%. And when I was doing the true diagnostics, what was interesting was the people that the older people, and these were people in their 60s, I had 70s, 80s, and they said, we've been doing this for a while because we wanted a good quality of life. They were in a spectacular place. And then I've talked about this on my podcast in other ones, but I look at the young people. It's frightening.
Mhm.
It's frightening. They have so much shit thrown at them that we didn't have back in the day. And I'm so grateful that I grew up like it's like you said, children of the 70s and 80s, right? 60s, 60s. There was still things that like coming in there, but nothing that they're barrotted with now.
Yeah,
And it's affecting their aging. It's affecting their hormones. It's affecting endocrine system. Everything is
yeah,
being negatively affected and they're aging. I was seeing people in their 20s, and we want to be 1 to 7 years younger. People have heard me talk about this. Sorry, I'm repeating it. But they're like 17, 18 years older epigenetically. That is frightening.
yeah,
And the things that keep being thrown out, let's just legalize more drugs.
yeah.
Drink the alcohol. You're going to be fine. Eat the junk food. And it's just sending them down such a bad road. And it's truly, truly frightening. Yeah, it's never
And
too
it's
late.
quite confusing.
Funny, I had two British clients. And they came over to Florida. They went to Disney World. I met with them after and they said, wow, the lack of healthy food that we could find, the obesity, it blew their minds. It
Yeah,
blew their minds. And this is America. Convenience, ease, junk. And so at some point we just it's so important to just take control over our health because no one else is going to do it. So we could go on for this forever, but I want to get more into the Qigong. Let's
sure.
talk about this, how you use this and in your business. Now, do you meet with people only in person or do you work with them online? So I want to hear
Yeah, yeah.
all of that. So I'm going to let you run.
Yeah, sure. So I do things in a few different ways. So I have one-on-one clients that come and see me in my clinic, and I use the whole range of all the stuff I've got. So the kinesiology, the epigenetics work, the body work that I do, the mindful movement. So Qigong really, if we understand it, is a movement practice that, if we keep it real simple, is about regulating our breath with our movement as we focus our minds. So very, very simply, it's a mindful movement practice. And we're learning to perceive our internal felt sense. So we're looking, enteric nervous system is the kind of the technical end of that. We're really paying attention to what's going on inside our bodies when we do a thing. So even if I raise my arms, what's taking place all the way from my feet, through my joints, through my spine? How do my organs feel? How does my connective tissue feel? What's the experience that I'm getting of that on a physical level, first of all? So I can start to notice areas that feel stuck or blocked or don't move so easily or ache or there's tension or there's a thing. And the first thing we're doing is learning to have awareness of our bodies. Because again, so many people, and you can see it in their bodies, they're squeezing themselves, pushing all of the energy up into their minds. And they're, these days with phones and online communities, which, they're tools, they're great for what they get great for, but we have to be careful not to get lost into them. And people are all up in these mind shapes so much that they forget their bodies. And then it's only when their bodies really call to them because there's a problem, there's a pain, they're just running on autopilot so much. So we're teaching people to have awareness, bringing people back to what happens if you don't do that, or if you do that. What's the change? Where do you notice it? And with Qigong specifically, that might just be that sense of, if I lift the crown of my head up and allow my spine to open as I breathe in while pressing into the floor, what's the difference I get in my body? And of course, one of the big problems that we have these days is that we spend so much more time indoors, which, the whole light thing, LEDs, blah, 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 artificial light, but also it's the lack of movement. Yeah, sure. I'm on a standing desk. And when I switched over to a standing desk, because I was aware that I was having to do more kind of office work, and I was aware that it was starting to have an effect on me, because sometimes I was needing to do 5-6 hours, and I'd still get up, I'd do my practices to loosen things up, but I could feel the difference. So I switched on to a standing desk, and I kicked my office chair over into the corner of my office, and I thought, I'll sit down when I feel I need to. And I haven't sat down yet.
It's still there.
Still standing. No, after 2 months, I got rid of the chair. I thought, that's just now a waste. So I got rid of the chair. And because all the way back to being a teenager, that was when I first got taught how to stand in a way that creates energy in our body. Now, for most people, they'll talk about getting tired if they have to stand. But in Qigong, we can teach you how to perceive when you're aligned and your tissues are open. So you're actually soft in your joints, you're not contracting muscles. Your body has this beautiful alignment system that you can use to put yourself in a state where you'll actually feel the energy of the earth radiating up through your feet and up into your body. So we have this standing posture called Wu Qi, which is like empty energy or no energy. And it's like a very basic upright standing posture. And if ever you see me standing in a queue somewhere, you'll actually see me just adopt this position. And if I've got a bag or something with me, I'll put it down on the floor. I'll stand in the position. If I have to move, I'll just move the bag forward, realign, go into the position, regulate my breath. So that by the time I get to the front of the queue, I've actually got more energy than I had at the back of the queue, because I'm not separating this idea of exercise from how I'm behaving all the time. And I get clients all the time saying, I don't have time to exercise. How long does it take?
Yeah.
Half an hour, I have to go to the gym, have to get changed. So I say, and if let's say they do yoga or Pilates or something like that, I say, show me your favorite posture. Just stand up now, show it to me. And I get them to do it. So take a breath in, let it go, take another breath in, let it go, take another breath in, let it go. It's been like 30 seconds. You've exercised today. Well done. So it's a way of creating win-win. And in the Qigong classes that I lead, I talk about kettle boiling activities. So these are the things that you could spend 2 minutes doing while the kettle boils. So rather than checking your Instagram or whatever else you're doing there, you can actually do an activity just for a couple of moments, and that change in circulation, that change in lymphatics, that change in posture, that's all going to say to your body, hey, do something useful for me. And again, this is we become the thing we practice the most. So if I don't give my body opportunities to adjust itself, how can it? So when I'm working one-to-one with people in the clinic, we'll use the whole range of tools, and the kinesiology for me really is the governing tool. It says to us as a kind of a working unit, this is where we need to prioritize today. So we work through that with people. I'll then do online coaching with people one-to-one. So I can work with people all over the world with that one. And we'll talk through where their situation is. What are they doing? What are they not doing? When do they feel their best? What are they doing? What are they not doing? When do they feel the worst? What are they doing? What are they not doing? And we'll refine. And I tell my clients, look, I haven't finished sorting my diet out yet, because it adjusts as I go along, as I learn more, as I age, as the seasons change, as my emotional state changes. So I'm constantly in a present state of just reflecting on what I need. So I can do that with people online as well. And then I have group classes that I teach. So people will come twice a week, and we do these beautiful classes where we'll do quite a deep session of mindful movement, regulate our bodies, get the energy going. People sleep so well after they've had those classes, because the very practice that we do activates on a physical level that parasympathetic nerve response. So with that, we're putting them into that relax, restore, repair state. They finish the class and they go home and they just sleep so nicely, so they get up a lot better. And we also do things like seasonal retreat days with people, where we'll bring them together, and we do these on the beginning of the change of the season. So we use the Chinese element patterns with those, and we talk about, what are we stopping? We're not in summer anymore, so what are we not doing anymore? We're moving into this state. We've got the decline in the year beginning. We want to think about fortifying ourselves as we go into the autumn. What is it we're going to need? Let's make the most of the sunshine where we can, because after the kind of end of September, once we get past that autumn equinox, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, you will not produce any more vitamin D. So optimize all this stuff. And we do movement practices that help to regulate that and prepare us for the incoming season. What are we going to do? So we have these seasonal reset points. And then when we're lucky, we do annual bigger retreats with people where we can take deep dives into both the movement, but also the psychological side of it as well. So we'll do inquiry that's based around the elemental work and the seasonal work that we're looking at as well.
So you need to come over to the States and do one of those, Ben.
Sounds great.
I think that would be fantastic. Open we Americans up to this over here a little bit more, to what you're doing. I think it sounds awesome. So if people listening over here, because the majority of my people are US based, they could reach out to you online.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll make sure that we have all of your contact information in all the show notes, everybody, if you want to reach out to Ben. But this has been just a conversation that's been right up my alley. Like we are of like mind here. I've enjoyed this conversation tremendously. Is there any words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, sure. I think some of the most important things to remember is there's never too little and it's never too late. I think, and again, my 82-year-old student is a real testament to this. She's got this maxim that she would rather do maintenance rather than have breakdown. So she's and she's done off her own back. It's not that I've instilled this in her as an idea, and in fact she's been a real inspiration to me. We've known each other like 15 years working together, and it's all about just what do we do to keep the machine rolling, you know. And I think it's really easy for us to be self-critical, and it's really easy for us to put ourselves down for what we're not doing, rather just to celebrate what we did do. If you stood up, even for anybody listening to the show here today, stand up and just shake where you are for like the last minute of the show, get the lymphatic system in the body going, just do something and then go, hey, well done. I did something useful today. I did something positive for my health. And it's these little bite-sized pieces. And again,
Absolutely.
to get into a food analogy here, the cake can be overwhelming to eat. So stop trying to do everything and don't let the size of the possibility put you off from taking that first bite and just gently moving. And every step you take in the right direction, great. And there's a great old saying in Chinese medicine as well that if you fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Just keep going,
Keep going.
little bit. And you'd be surprised how many little changes add up to being healthier, more vibrant. And you just have to keep on looking at, when you accommodate a change, okay, what's the next bit I could do? We always start cutting out the bad stuff. Get rid of the bad shit, get rid of the junk, get rid of the things that hand on heart, you know, are a crock of shit and aren't going to help you. All they're feeding are your lips and the
Your
idea you have in your mind. And as soon as they go past that point, they're of no use whatsoever. Start by getting rid of that stuff. Even if you're going to watch TV, get yourself a rebounder and every half an hour, every hour, get on your rebounder and just have a little bounce around, or get on your exercise bike, or get out into the sunshine, stroke an animal, go and do something that adds value to your life, because it's your life. And if you're not going to add value to it, if you're sat there like a 2-year-old waiting for somebody to wipe your ass, it ain't going to happen.
Ain't gonna
You gotta
happen.
start wiping your own ass. Do with the stuff that you need to do. Get on with it. Feel better for self-empowerment. Feel better for having the sovereignty to care for yourself and knowing that you can make a difference every day, every minute, every breath.
Amen. Do you hear all this, people? It's again, you're singing the song of my people. So yeah, it made me chuckle when you talked about the rebounder. I was just reading up on that the other day, and I know that I can get a little stagnant with the lymph. So I said, I'm going to grab one of these. So I go onto Amazon, right? It's been sitting here for a couple days. So yesterday morning, I said, I saw it could take a couple hours because you have to string like each one of the elastics or whatever the hell they are. I am not a technical person, but I put the video on. This is like when I have my hiking app up and I still get lost. When I have the trail map and I still get lost. Happens all the time. So I watch the guy pull it down. I put it together and I realized that all 36 of those, and it was a workout because I'm holding on to it. I'm pulling like I'm on a rowing machine. Those things are tight.
Yep.
And 36 of those little bastards around this thing. And it took me 2 hours to get them on. 2 hours. And I realized I put it on upside down.
Yay!
So I looked down and I was like, you've got to be kidding. There was no way I was going to sit there for another 2 hours. So it's in my bedroom waiting for me to tackle it. And I thought, well, maybe it'll be flipping it. I'll work with it. But yeah, that's how. So the
It's
rebounder.
going to take 2 hours to do it a second time. You'll get it faster.
I was so excited. Like you said, celebrate the victory. I was excited that I did it. Like, people saying you really need 2 people. I got her done. And ripped my hands up.
Even if you don't have a rebounder, literally just to, like you're pushing into the ground, shake, bounce, get your shoulders to kiss your ears, shake your arms around. You can.
I love it.
What I love about Qigong, you don't need any equipment. You can do it in the tiniest of spaces, so nobody's apartment is too small. You can do it with the simplest of things because it's just about breathing. So we even have this thing that we use in Life Force Qigong that we call the 2 millimeter workout. Okay, 2 millimeter workout, which is literally as you breathe in, feel yourself open your spine, your joints, your tissues, and then let them go. And that is enough to create this tiny little stretch through the tissues that will still get all that lift. You do that for 10 minutes and you will be warm, you'll feel vitality in your body. It's so simple. And people are just given this idea that it's effort, it's hard, it's meh, and it's just get on with it.
Even just getting the change to a diaphragmatic breathing. When I changed to that, oh my God, again, it just brings, I'll do it at night. It just brings this sense of peace during the day, anything. When we're getting all the right oxygen to our brain, our bodies, it's just a whole game change. And like you said, with this alignment. So this has been such an awesome conversation. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you answered me and came on here to have this conversation today. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much. And yeah, we have to stay in touch because I totally jam with you. So
Thank you. Really, that was great.
I got the rebounder. I'm going to fix it. And now I have to look at the Qigong because this makes so much sense. And we're just living in such a world of stress. And I have very much awareness where, like you said, most people don't. They're just living in shit. And just to even increase awareness more. And really quick here, it sounds like this could be a good complement for athletics.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm jamming on because I'm all about performance. And I'm thinking even to create more awareness around why my body is tight in this area, why I'm not moving as well, and how to increase my performance by working with this. And it's not even another workout. It's just another area of optimization.
Absolutely. Right? And works brilliantly as a warm up, works brilliantly as a warm down to incorporate some of the Qigong practices as you gain that deeper awareness for yourself. Just what you're capable of doing changes because that relationship that you have with your own body deepens. And like I say, I've been doing this for 34 years and it's still deepening in the relationship that I have with it. And that's just something that also makes me feel much more whole, much more happy, much safer because I've got this thing that's with me all the time and we love each other and we want each other to thrive. And if I'm not going to be my cheerleader, I can't expect anybody else to be.
Nobody else will. No. What is your website, Ben?
So you can find me at www.bencalder.co.uk, and that's Calder with a C. And you can also find me at Ben G. Calder on Instagram, Ben Calder Integral Health on Facebook as well. And just stick my name in somewhere and hopefully I'll show up.
No, come on. And it's Calder, not
That's right.
CAU. Because when I hear Calder,
right.
I'm thinking CAU. So I want to make sure that people type in the right stuff. And again, you can check the show notes. We'll have all of his contact information in here and just send him a little cheerio. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Susan. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Get out there, be your most authentic self, and make it a great day.
Thank you for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, I'd love for you to share it with someone who'd find the information useful. Please leave a review anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it'll help the information get out to others. If you're interested in seeing if we're a great fit to work together, the link is in the show notes below where you can sign up for a free consultation with me. So go make it a great day and let your authentic self shine.